Welcome everybody, and thanks for tuning into the Daily Space Weather. Let's see what the sun has been up to today for the past 24 hours. Here's the closest star in 94 angstroms. If you're wondering what the different wavelengths are, they're different spectral states. They're different emissions of ultraviolet radiation by specific atomic species. So this one is 94 angstroms. This is iron 18. So 17 times ionized iron. It wants an additional 17 electrons to be what we'd call a stable iron atom. That extreme heat strips electrons away, causing it to emit light in a very specific portion of the ultraviolet frequency range. So this one is around 6 million Kelvin. That's 94 angstroms from the SDO. Also, this imagery takes an image every 2 seconds instead of every 10 seconds. That's why it's so good at covering solar flares. There was a little bit of a plasma burst up here. It doesn't seem to have produced any significant coronal mass ejections. If you want to look up the different spectral states, just head to the SDO main page, which is that one there, sdo.gsfc.nasa.gov/data. The sun now is the tab. You can look at those different states there. One of the other ones we look at regularly on the channel is iron 9, 8 times ionized iron, 171 angstroms. Next we'll look at the colorized magnetogram. And surprisingly, this sunspot down here, I don't think it got a name. It has been sputtering. And it's actually lost some complexity since yesterday. So, possible new sunspot forming up here in the northern hemisphere. We've only got 2 or 3 named groups. Make sure you watch our second video today about that. Here's the last 24 hours, that is, in 171 angstroms. And this is great at showing the lower corona. You can see all the magnetic looping that it shows. Great imagery there of our closest star. And let's get into some more information here. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux is next. It's dropped down to 97, so a reduction here in solar activity the past 24 hours. Here's the 1-year chart to put that in context. The radio flux is the black line here, and it is a proportional data set to sunspot number. Expect an uptick coming soon in that, aka more sunspots. So there's the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard, and they've actually changed the time for the alerts here, expecting a geomagnetic unrest period early today and also early tomorrow on January 23rd. Next we'll look at earthquakes, and we've seen 3 6-magnitude quakes, so seismic activity levels high. This is a 90-day bar graph to sort of show you the last 3 months. And let's check out the list here from USGS. Now we send disaster alerts to our paying subscribers at smashamash.com/smashteam. And let's scroll up the list here. What happened was we saw an earthquake in Japan. That was a 6.3. That was the largest of the past 24 hours. Then we saw a 6 magnitude, I think it was a 6.1 in the Philippines. We'll get to it. So there was the first one, 6.3 in Japan. That happened at 16:08 Universal Time yesterday. Quite a few quakes there north of New Zealand as well. And we see some foreshocks at the Philippines. And we see a 6.0 at the Philippines. So there's that 6.0. That came in at 2:26 this morning on the 22nd of January. And then about 3 hours later, we saw a 6.2 in the Aleutian Islands. Lots of aftershocks and quite a number of earthquakes around Alaska there as well. Also a decent-sized quake happening there in the past 24, a 5.3 at Mexico. That one occurring late in the day yesterday, Universal Time. Here's the rest of the list. If we've missed any quakes you wish we would have covered, just let us know in the comments. And remember, folks, Any earthquake can be a foreshock, so have a disaster plan. Try to be an asset, not a liability, in the event of a disaster. Speaking of disasters, if you're wondering what volcanoes are erupting, let's go over it. Subanosejima has been erupting this past week. Let's check the list here from volcanodiscovery.com. Shivaluch, flight level 130 as it explodes on the Kamchatka Peninsula, producing a 13,000-foot plume of volcanic ash. Again, flight level 130. Subanosejima created some pyroclastic material, such as ash, lapilli bombs, and blocks. Blocks were ejected 600 meters distance from the crater. Please don't pitch a tent at the base of Subanosejima. Hungatonga, a 7,000-kilometer aerosol plume continues. We covered it in our meteorology segments. The sulfur dioxide plume has made it all the way to Madagascar by this point in time, by the time we made this video. And continuing on here, the Pavlov Volcano in the Alaskan Peninsula has been producing some lava flow and a spatter cone and continuous internal tremor there at Pavlov. Fuego in Guatemala, flight level 150 as it explodes. It's a 15,000-foot plume of volcanic ash from Fuego. Nevado del Ruiz exploding. 20,000-foot ash plume over Colombia from Nevado del Ruiz. Sangay exploding, flight level 220. It's a 22,000-foot ash plume over Ecuador. And Sabancaya, possible emissions of gas and volcanic ash are a reminder to not pole vault the caldera. And while we don't wish you to pole vault the caldera, please do visit our links. You can find them below the video, smashamash.com. If you like the idea of not pole vaulting the caldera as a public service message, head to smashamash.com. You can find a Smasho merch link right there, and you can find some great designs there. One of our top sellers. Also, make sure you check out our next videos premiering after this one. We'll be making one about the magnetic environment as well as our bonus features. And there should be a meteorology segment having premiered before this. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smashamash, signing off from the Smash News Network. Least busted. Name it news.